There's a sound that rolls across the Appalachian hills, a twang that hums through Nashville air, a rhythm that stirs the dust of old cowboy trails. Most people think they know where country and bluegrass music come from. But behind the fiddles and steel guitars, behind the wide-brimmed hats and cowboy boots, lies a story that's been hidden for far too long, a story of banjos carved from African roots, of black cowboys singing trail songs under endless skies, of soul and struggle woven into every note. Welcome to Black American Legacy. I am glad you are here. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell so you do not miss our next story. Let's start at the beginning. Enslaved Africans brought music ideas from West Africa. One idea was the banjo. In Africa, there were instruments like the akanting and ngoni. They had a skin head, a neck, and strings. In America, black descendants of enslaved people rebuilt these with gourds, wood, and animal skin. They played them at gatherings after long work days. The banjo kept a strong beat and a bright tone. It made people dance. In the 1800s, black American banjo players and white fiddle players often played at the same events. There were barn dances, community parties, and holidays. The banjo carried the drive. The fiddle carried the melody. People sang in call and response. They told stories about work, love, faith, and loss. These mixed bands helped create the basic sound we would later call country and, faster and tighter, bluegrass. There is another piece of the story. Minstrel shows began in the 1840s. These shows were racist and used blackface. They took black music and acted it out in cruel ways. But they also spread the banjo and fiddle sound across the United States. Many people heard the banjo for the first time at these shows. This made the sound popular while hiding its black roots. Black families and communities kept the real music alive at home, in churches, and at local dances. Now picture the West after the Civil War. Many black men worked as cowboys. Historians say about 1 in 4 cowboys on cattle drives was black. Cowboys sang at night to calm the herd. They sang about trail life, storms, hunger, and home. These trail songs became early cowboy songs. Later, singers recorded them. People called them country music. Movies and posters mostly showed white cowboys. But the real range was mixed, and the music was shared. When recording began in the 1920s, the music business drew a line. After Mamie Smith's 1920 song Crazy Blues sold more than 75,000 copies in its first month, mostly to black buyers, record labels saw a big new market. They rushed to sign black artists and created a special line called race records to sell to black listeners. Back then, the word race, which sounds harsh today, was sometimes used with pride in black newspapers and groups. Companies used that word in ads because they thought it would speak to black customers. This split was about money, not about sound. You can see the split in action at the 1927 Bristol Sessions in Tennessee. Producer Ralph Peer recorded many acts in a simple studio. He recorded the Carter Family and Jimmy Rogers. He also recorded black musicians like harmonica player L. Watson and the duo Stephen Tarter and Harry Gay. These artists stood in the same room. They shared many rhythms and song forms. But their records were released in different series because of race. This shaped who got credit in the history books and who got left out. Over time, the split turned into a loop that was hard to break. Stores in white neighborhoods mostly sold hillbilly records. Stores in black neighborhoods mostly sold race records. Radio shows, trade magazines, and awards aimed at the white country audience that these sales had built. Then label bosses and radio programmers said, "We have to serve our core audience." They claimed black artists, or songs that sounded too black, would not sell to country fans. This was a circle. The market they built was used to say who could be heard. This made a strong wall. Pioneers like Charlie Pride, and, many years later, Mickey Guyton, had to push through that wall. Let's meet some key black figures who helped shape the sound. DeFord Bailey was a master of the harmonica. He learned to play as a child while resting from illness. He made the harmonica sound like a train. His Pan-American blues thrilled listeners. He was one of the first stars of the Grand Ole Opry and its first black performer. His songs often opened the show. The Opry grew famous while he played. But life on the road under Jim Crow was hard. In 1941, he was let go in a licensing dispute over songs. He later shined shoes to make a living. It took more than 20 years for another black Opry member to appear. His story shows both his great talent and the cost of racism. Lesley Riddle was a black guitarist and a songfinder. He traveled with A.P. Carter to collect songs across the South. Riddle had a gift for memory. He kept melodies in his head and shared them with Sarah and Maybelle Carter. He also showed Maybelle guitar ideas, including ways to pick melody and rhythm at the same time. That sound became part of the famous Carter scratch. Songs he carried and shaped became Carter family standards. His work is inside many songs people call classic country.
It wasn't that the Carter family were trying to deny him his rights. They always spoke very highly of Lesley Riddle and liked him immensely. It was simply the way kind of the industry operated in those years. It was highly segregated and discriminatory.
Rufus T-Tot Payne played in Alabama. He taught a young Hank Williams blues chords, timing, and feeling. T-Tot showed Hank how to bend notes and make the voice slide. The deep feeling and blues shape at the heart of your cheatin' heart comes straight from those lessons on the street. Jimmie Rodgers is often called the father of country music. He worked on railroads and heard black workers sing blues along the tracks. He took that feel and made his blue yodel. In 1930, he recorded with jazz greats Louis Armstrong and Lil Hardin Armstrong. This was rare at the time. It shows how close these sounds were, even when the market tried to keep them apart. Bluegrass grew from the same roots. Bill Monroe is called the father of bluegrass. As a young man in Kentucky, he watched and learned from Arnold Shultz, a black fiddler and guitarist. Shultz used strong rhythm, syncopation, and blues notes. He also used a thumb-led picking style. Monroe took in those ideas. Later, when Monroe formed his famous band, the music had a fast drive, high harmony, and that blues touch. You can still hear Shultz's imprint in bluegrass today. As bluegrass got popular in the 1940s, the banjo style on records changed. Many people now heard the three-finger picking style made famous by Earl Scruggs. But there was an older black clawhammer banjo style that never went away. It stayed in black and white families and small communities. In our time, players like Rhiannon Giddens helped bring the black banjo story back to the public. They showed that clawhammer, string band music, and old-time songs had deep black roots. Country and blues share many parts. Both grew in the South before World War II. Both tell stories about hard work, love and loss, moving from place to place, and feeling worry about the future. Singers in both styles use some of the same ready-made lines, like "I'm leaving town" or "Something's on my mind." Both often use similar chords, like the 12-bar blues. But there is also a key difference. Country songs often speak mainly about class and work, like the life of a coal miner or a tenant farmer. The blues also speak about class, but they are tied to the daily danger of being black under Jim Crow. So a train in a country song might mean new work, a broken heart, or going home. A train in a blues song might mean running from a lynch mob or fleeing the sharecropping system. The pains can look alike, but they are not the same. Some people use the phrase "the white man's blues." That phrase is not right. It tries to solve a problem for country music. The sound of country is clearly built from black music, but the business sold country as white. The phrase says, "We did not borrow, we just made our own kind of blues because we were hurting too." That story hides the real shared tradition. It lets the industry enjoy black sounds without giving black artists full credit or facing the history of erasure. The truth is simpler. The music was shared, but the risk and the rules were not. There were many more links. In string bands across the South, black and white musicians played together. In churches, shape note singing and call and response mixed with spirituals and hymns. In work camps and on farms, people shared tunes after long days. The sound grew in common life, not just on stages. Now we move forward in time. The walls of the industry were strong, but the music kept breaking through. Ray Charles loved country songs he heard on the radio. In 1962, he recorded modern sounds in country and western music. He sang country songs with gospel phrasing and big band arrangements. The album became a huge hit. It stayed at the top of the charts and brought country songs to new listeners. It proved again that country, blues, and gospel belong together. They always had. We must also name Linda Martell. She is one of the earliest Black American artists to stand clearly in mainstream country. In 1969 and 1970, she charted country songs like Color Him Father. She became the first Black woman to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Her time on that stage proved that a Black woman's voice belongs in country music. Her path was not easy, but her place is secure. Let's add other names and facts. Herb Jeffries sang cowboy songs in films and on records in the 1930s and 1940s. He showed that a Black singing cowboy was real. Cleve Francis trained as a cardiologist and then recorded as a country singer in the early 1990s, placing several singles on the charts. And Big Al Downing. These artists kept the door open, even when radio was slow to follow. Behind the scenes, many Black writers, pickers, and producers shaped hits. Some worked in Nashville studios. Some worked in places like Muscle Shoals. They played guitar, bass, drums, piano, and steel. They arranged songs and helped singers find the right key and tempo. Their names are not always on the cover, but their sound is on the record. Now we move toward a key moment in the late 1960s. A major door is about to open. Enter Charley Pride. In the late 60s, this Mississippi-born singer broke through as one of the first Black artists signed to a major country label. Radio stations received his records without a photo. When listeners found out he was Black, it was too late. His voice had already won them over. By 1971, he was Country Music Awards Entertainer of the Year. But despite his success, Black artists remained rare in mainstream country. Some, O.B. McClinton and Stoney Edwards, made waves in the 70s. Others found ways to contribute behind the scenes as writers, session players, and producers. O.B. McClinton, nicknamed the Chocolate Cowboy, wrote songs for artists like Conway Twitty before recording his own. In the 21st century, Black country artists aren't just performing. They're reclaiming. Darius Rucker scored #1 hits and Mickey Guyton earned a Grammy nomination for Black Like Me, a raw account of her experience in the genre. Then came a cultural reckoning. In 2023, K. Michelle releases Tennessee and Country Love Song, a collaboration with country rapper Justin Champagne. Then Lil Nas X's Old Town Road exploded on the charts and stirred debate about who gets to define country music.
The lefties in the entertainment industry just won't leave any area alone, right? They just have to seize control over every aspect, don't they?
They've got to make their mark, just like a dog in a dog walk park. You know, every dog has to mark every tree, right? So that's what's going on here.
Beyonce lit a match with Daddy Lessons and later poured gasoline with Texas Hold'em and Cowboy Carter, placing herself and other Black country women front and center in the global conversation. Check out this list of notables that are making a wave in the country music genre like Cowboy Troy, Seven Culture, Kane Brown, Rissy Palmer, Brittany Spencer, Blanco Brown, Jimmy Allen, and Chapel Hart. Country music wasn't borrowed from Black American culture, it was born from it. The instruments, the rhythms, the phrasing, the heartache, it all came through Black American bodies and Black American brilliance. And though industry walls tried to box it out, the music never stopped playing. For those history buffs who want to dive deeper into the subject of Black American greatness in country music, check out the books, My Black Country by Alice Randall and Hidden in the Mix by Diane Pecknold. Go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to Black American Legacy for more stories that deserve to be remembered and retold. Because the banjo didn't lie. The harmonica didn't hide. The truth's been singing all along. And now, we're turning up the volume. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.